A scramble as Biden backs same-sex marriage. By Michael Barbaro. Published May 6, 2012. Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr. said on Sunday that he was absolutely comfortable with same-sex marriages and was heartened by their growing acceptance across the country, a position that moves well beyond the evolving views that President Obama has said he holds on the issue. Carolyn Castor / Associated Press. Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr., shown in March, said on NBC on Sunday that he was absolutely comfortable with same-sex marriages and spoke of meeting a gay couple with children. The comments, which aides described as the off-the-cuff views of a vice president not known for fidelity to a script, sent the White House scrambling to clarify that Mr. Biden was not articulating an official change in policy, a reaction that highlighted the administration's unease over the subject. In an interview on NBC's Meet the Press, Mr. Biden invoked some of the same language that advocates of same-sex marriage use, speaking of family, equality and love. "I am absolutely comfortable with the fact that men marrying men, women marrying women and heterosexual men and women marrying one another are entitled to the same exact rights, all the civil rights, all the civil liberties," Mr. Biden said, while noting that the president, not he, sets policy on such matters. Mr. Biden's unexpectedly expansive remarks made him by far the highest-ranking White House official to move closer to a formal embrace of same-sex marriage, which is now legal in 6 states and the District of Columbia but is unrecognized by the federal government. The Obama administration has endorsed civil unions but not marriage for gay couples. The vice president's comments are likely to intensify pressure on Mr. Obama, who says he is still wrestling with his feelings about same-sex marriage, to take a clearer stance on it before the presidential election this fall, something the White House has shown reluctance to do. Mr. Biden's aides, in insisting that he was not deviating from White House policy, pointed to a 2010 statement by the vice president that the country was moving toward national consensus on same-sex marriage. And in Sunday's interview, Mr. Biden did not say explicitly that the federal government should recognize it. But gay rights advocates, who spent Sunday morning parsing Mr. Biden's words, said the president's running mate had, in their analysis, conveyed new and unmistakable support for their biggest cause. Mr. Biden called the debate surrounding the issue a simple question of, who do you love? And will you be loyal to the person you love? That's what people are finding out is what all marriages, at their root, are about, he said. Whether they are marriages of lesbians or gay men or heterosexuals. Mr. Obama faces growing calls from gay and lesbian voters and a formidable array of wealthy gay donors to support same-sex marriage and make it a part of the Democratic Party's platform at its convention. Many of his supporters believe that he privately backs it but is unwilling to say so before a general election that may be decided in states like Ohio, Pennsylvania and Virginia, where such a position could provoke a backlash. In 1996, as a candidate for the Illinois Senate, Mr. Obama answered on a candidate's questionnaire, "I favor legalizing same-sex marriages." But after he became president, White House officials said Mr. Obama had been referring to civil unions. Since then, Mr. Obama has repeatedly said he believes that gay couples should have the same rights as heterosexual couples, but he has not used the symbolically freighted term marriage, as Mr. Biden did. In 2010, when asked about same-sex marriage, Mr. Obama said, My baseline is a strong civil union that provides them the protections and the legal rights that married couples have. Gay rights leaders expressed frustration and dismay on Sunday over attempts by the White House to play down the vice president's words and said that the president's own endorsement of same-sex marriage was long overdue. Trying now to walk this back will only hurt them, said Richard Socarides, a former White House aide who advised President Bill Clinton on gay rights. You can clarify an answer as direct and candid and expansive as the one he gave. But some Democrats, particularly those representing Black and Hispanic constituencies, have opposed same-sex marriage, arguing that it conflicts with Christian doctrine. The issue has become a hot topic in 2 potential swing states, with North Carolina voting this week on a measure to ban same-sex marriages and Maine voting on a measure in November to legalize them. The difference of opinion between Mr. Biden and Mr. Obama, however wide it is somewhat reminiscent of that between President George W. Bush and his Vice President, Dick Cheney, on the same subject. Mr. Bush opposed same-sex marriage and in 2004 even endorsed a constitutional amendment banning it, while Mr. Cheney disagreed publicly and said, "Freedom means freedom for everyone." Mr. Biden, a 69-year-old Roman Catholic, seemed to acknowledge in his interview that he was diverging from the president's stated position. He prefaced his remarks by saying, "I am Vice President of the United States of America. The President sets the policy." His remarks about same-sex marriage and gay rights were wide-ranging, even touching on the influence of the television show, Will and Grace. He said the show probably did more to educate the American public than almost anything anybody's ever done so far. At times Mr. Biden's remarks were strikingly personal, as well. He recalled meeting the 2 children of a gay couple at a Los Angeles fundraiser 2 weeks ago, an experience that aides said had left a deep impression on him. During a question-and-answer session at the fundraiser, Mr. Biden recalled, a gay man asked, "How do you feel about us?" Mr. Biden recounted his reply. "I turned to the man who owned the house. I said, 'What did I do when I walked in?' He said, 'You walked right to my children. They were 7 and 5, giving you flowers.' And I said, 'You wish every American could see the look of love those kids had in their eyes for you guys. And they wouldn't have any doubt about what this is about.'" This is not the first time that White House officials have staked out stronger positions on gay rights than the president is, raising the possibility that Mr. Obama is relying on aides to telegraph his intentions to avoid the political consequences of articulating them himself. Last year, for example, Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton said in Geneva that gay rights are human rights, and human rights are gay rights, a message Mr. Obama later enthusiastically endorsed. And when Sean Donovan, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, said in an interview that he supported the right of gay couples to marry, a senior administration official said Mr. Donovan enjoyed the trust and respect of the president. The White House denied that Mr. Biden was acting as a surrogate for the president on Sunday, saying that Mr. Biden's views, influenced by gay friends and fundraisers, had changed and that, with characteristic candor, he was willing to volunteer them at length. When pressed on whether Mr. Obama would support same-sex marriage in the second term, though, Mr. Biden kept his response short. "I don't know the answer to that."